I don't even know where to start. We're going to start with, I guess, I have been feeling called to tell my entire story. And I don't mean all 54 years of it. That would take forever. But to give you the highlight reels of how and why and where I've been to get to where I am today and where I'm going forward. So I was born in Indiana. I am a Midwest girl, corn fed, if you will. In fact, my family were farmers and real estate people. My grandmother, um, all of the women in my family are strong, driven women who, in their own right, achieved a lot. I don't know a lot about my grandma Vera, my grandma Bales. Born on a farm, grew up on a farm, married, and then raised all of her children on a farm. And when I'm talking about on a farm, I mean, if they were having chicken for dinner, she went out to the coop and got a chicken and prepared it for dinner. They grew their own food. It was a hard life, but she seemed very content with it. Um, she raised her children well, all very strong, kind individuals. And from that lineage, my mom comes. Her mother uh, started a real estate business uh, and for over 30 years sold an awful lot of real estate. They were wealthy. They were especially wealthy for the town that they were in. She birthed six children, and my grandfather did a variety of businesses. Let me see if I can remember what I was told. They owned a pie plate making company. They owned a drive-in, like one of those root beer stand drive-ins where the girls were on roller skates. In fact, my mom brought trays to the cars and you could hang them on the windows, and she wore roller skates when in high school. Um, I think they had a Pepsi delivery company. He had the first Ford dealership in our town in Indiana, small town in Indiana, and many other businesses, including building houses. So they did that for their entire life, raising their six kids. My mom is number two of those six, oldest daughter. And so she was put in a position to kind of take care of her siblings. My father's dad did a variety of jobs as well. He for years traveled from Indiana to Chicago to work. I don't even know that I know what he did. My grandma Denny raised four boys with a disability to her leg. Um, and so she survived raising four boys with a brace on her leg that she was put on in the 60s. Also another pretty tough woman, strong, confident. She very much knew her mind. And my dad is number two, also of that family, now that I think about it. And then my parents are both Libras, and I'm a Libra. My brother is a Taurus. I only have one brother. We grew up very middle class, suburban, Midwestern. And so for that, I'm very, very blessed. I'm very blessed for many reasons. That's one of them. I went to college. I got my degree in business administration, business management, and went into my corporate career, and I was successful in my corporate career. Spent about 20 years in the corporate world. I climbed the ladder. Um, I was told many times, very hardworking and driven. I was about accomplishing goals and tasks and getting them done exceptionally. I did forgot to mention I played music in school, piano and oboe and soccer, did musicals. Those were a lot of fun. Love to dance. Absolutely. Still love to dance. So in college was when I would say that the physical ailments started to show up, but I was still young and invincible. I had a lot of fun in college, probably maybe too much fun in college. So I started my career out of college, and it was in that first job that I met my husband. We're still married today. We got married in 96, met in 1994. Wow, I'm really dating myself now. Um, And we have two boys who are now 26 and 23. And we have done a variety of things. So I worked for Ford Motor Company, did some really cool stuff at Ford Motor Company. I went to work for a company called Entertainment Publications, got to travel with both of those jobs. I went to work for a company called Legend Motors. That didn't go so well. The guy who was supposed to be raising money for the company embezzled it. And I left that company and went to Coachman Industries and did very well at Coachman and even launched a bus program with them. I tell you this because my drive in my career contributed greatly to my physical illness, and I don't blame the career, and I don't even blame the drive. What if I were to choose a mechanism that was problematic, it would be the fact that I would drive without any downtime. So it'd be like if you took a car and you tried to drive 100,000 miles without ever doing new tires or an oil change or brakes, just going. Ate standard American diet, lots of sugar, lots and lots and lots of sugar, a fair amount of alcohol for a while as well. So the headaches started at age 12. They progressively got worse. Sinus issues in college, as well as some kidney bladder issues. And those continued into my career. The kidney issues started really dramatically when I was at Ford. And there was a 9-month period where I worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there was no downtime. We got married in that period. We had our honeymoon. We bought a house. We started our family. It was it was this going constantly, and my body just didn't, my body was strong and resilient, but starting to show like more and more pain, more and more headaches. And I developed uterine fibroids. That is a symptom of long-term chronic stress, as I found out later, and too much sugar and carbohydrates in my diet. But I chose the medical route. So I had both children C-section, and then I had an embolization, which is a procedure that they do to try to stop the fibroids. I had a myomectomy, partial hysterectomy, and then a double hernia surgery. So I've had 5 abdominal surgeries and a lot of long-term impacts from that. The headaches were every day. I would occasionally get relief when I would have a chiropractic visit, or I would have a little bit of downtime. But the headaches were every day for years. For years and years, I had headaches. I worked with headaches. That's just what it was. I couldn't stop my life because of the headaches. So fast forward to roughly 2008, maybe 2000, it might have been a little earlier than that. I was researching different things, and I came across data and statistics on how toxic cleaning chemicals are, and I immediately changed our cleaning chemicals to non-toxic choices, which I saw improvements in the health of especially our youngest son at that point in time. And I felt very satisfied with choosing non-toxic chemicals. Now, I never was a huge fan of going to the doctor, but I would go like you're supposed to. You get your annual checkup, and he would tell me, oh, you're overweight, or, maybe your cholesterol is a little bit high. And I said, okay, what am I going to do to get the cholesterol down? And I talked to a friend, and I drank some really awful tea, took some capsules, and it was fine. I don't even know to this day what exactly I did to drive the cholesterol down. I think I just thought it away personally. So I kept getting sicker and heavier and sicker and heavier and more pain and more fatigue. When I was at Coachman, it got really bad. So by the time I was launching this bus program, I was working 70 hours a week again. I was not eating well. I was living off sugar and fast food and Coke. I would get a big, large Coke at McDonald's in the morning on the way to work. And then I would hit the candy bowl, or I'd bring snacks in, or hit the brake truck for donuts or whatever, because my stress level was so incredibly high, and it had been for so long, that my insulin was crashing my sugars. And then I would I would crave sugar and go get it, and then I would stress, and then the sugar would wear off and I would crash again. And so I was living sort of this, what we do in modern life, right? So you follow the crashes. And if you feel it coming, you go get some more caffeine, so you get a cup of coffee or a Monster, or go get a donut or whatever you do. All of that made it worse, as I found out later. But I didn't know what I didn't know. So there hit a point where our oldest son was dealing with some serious health issues. Our youngest son was dealing with some growing health issues, and I had my issues. And I went to the doctor and I couldn't get any answers for any of us. And I tried for 2 years. And then a friend of mine recommended an acupuncturist, which I'd never gone to before. And I said, okay, I'll try it. Well, that visit, I feel like, opened the door to a solution, a series of solutions that I didn't know even existed. Or I shouldn't say it, well, I didn't know they existed. I didn't have any idea of the depth and the breadth and the knowledge that is in natural medicine. I didn't have any clue. I just thought it was supplements, right? I just thought you took, some whatever, some calcium um, or took some, multivitamin. She introduced us to the idea that food was an issue and immediately cut gluten out, saw an improvement cutting gluten out, which meant I cut out bread and then eventually pasta as well. And so for my oldest, it was gluten and corn. For me, it was gluten, vinegar, tomatoes. So I cut out the gluten and the corn. I didn't right away cut the vinegar and tomatoes. I did cut the tomatoes later, and what a huge difference. But I'll give you some input onto that as well. And we saw improvements with Alex. In fact, he started to grow. He had been slow in his growth. Actually, within 6 months of cutting the gluten out, he started to actually grow. So I didn't realize that the gluten was actually impacting his body's ability to do what it needed to do. A couple of months later, we had our youngest evaluated, and his issues were gluten, corn, and dairy. So I went all in. I was cooking all of our meals. I mean, I spent 3.5 hours at the grocery store reading the ingredients list and looking it up. What is modified food starch? Oh, wait, it might be corn. It might be dairy. Oh, this contains dairy. This is another name for such and such. Oh, I don't want to do artificial food colors, etc. We stopped eating fast food. I stopped buying fruit drinks and juice boxes and all of these things, and I found much better choices. And we saw major improvements. Started chiropractic. That also helped. Acupuncture continued to help. I started researching, how do I know more about this? And I ended up signing up for an 8-day natural health practitioner certification, which was supposed to introduce me to natural health. In the course of that, I found out that there was such a thing as a naturopath. I'd never even heard of it before. Naturopath has been around for 400 years. It's not new, but it was suppressed in the early 1900s in favor of allopathic medicine. That's why most people have never heard of it. That's why I'd never heard of it. So before I finished the 8-day certification, I signed up for naturopathic school and I started studying. And they had talked about in the midst of the schooling, the emotions and the challenge with subconscious emotional trauma and stress, but it was this much of this program. It was mostly dedicated to food and supplementation and a little bit of detoxification. So I started down the journey and started learning and kept researching and kept reading and took more classes and more certification through different companies and suppliers and schools. I was voraciously learning. It was all I wanted to do was learn all of this. And at the time, my job had changed. So my job responsibilities were much less. And I had time. I had a lot more time on my hands. I ended up leaving my career to finish my schooling and open a wellness clinic. Well, as soon as I left my job, my body went into shutdown mode. I had lived on adrenaline for so long, and my body was so depleted that I was exhausted, and this chronic fatigue was so bad that I would fall asleep at a stoplight on the way home from work. Driving anywhere, I'd fall asleep at a stoplight. I'd doze off in the car on the way back from wherever we were traveling. And the last time it really happened, it took a semi truck horn to wake me up. I had sat through 2 stoplights at that point in time. And I realized that I had serious issues. So I pursued blood testing. I pursued doctors. None of them could tell me anything. One told me, we can't find anything wrong with you, which is the path that they send you down that ends up with, we think this is psychosomatic. We're going to put you on an antidepressant. And in seeing people in clinic, I heard that story a lot. That their doctors did eventually, because the doctor couldn't find anything. There was clearly nothing wrong with them, but it was all mental, right? Which is bullshit. So we were all improving and we were getting better. And then I had a client sitting in front of me one day and she was just not progressing. And I was doing all the things, right? All the things I'd been taught to do. And she's sobbing and hysterical and going on and on about she's so worried about her son. So we spent 45 minutes talking about that. And I realized her issues are not physical, they're emotional. So in the depth of her despair, her body was shutting down. And I realized I didn't have any tools to do anything with that. So that led me down the path of emotional healing. And a friend of mine introduced me to Emotion Code, which was the first introduction I had truly into the depth of knowledge that's known about the impact of emotions buried in the body, in the subconscious, and physical illness, physical dis-ease, and symptoms, pain, fatigue, exhaustion, all of those things and many more have emotional components to them. Sometimes it is the root of the issue is emotional. So I started clearing subconscious emotions with clients and myself, started seeing these breakthroughs, major improvements, and I was super excited. So I said, okay, let's dive in a little bit deeper. Started studying meridian pathways, the energy flow pathways of the body. This is kind of what acupuncturists do, but there's acupressure and reflexology and massage therapists deal with it, but they may or may not be as aware of it. And I'm self-taught, I'm self-teaching at this point in time. And then I decided I wanted to get Reiki attuned. So I did. I got Reiki attunement 1 and then eventually Reiki 2 attunement. And it opened me up to this whole intuitive thing. Like I'd always been inclined to feel things, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to read it. Those attunements and me practicing this emotion code and several other things opened me up to being able to read what was going on in my own body and ask questions and get answers. And muscle testing added to that because at first I didn't trust the intuition. So I added muscle testing with intuition and was able to get all kinds of answers. And so I started using this with my clients. And then I'm reading all kinds of different books. I'm learning from different teachers, Donnie Eaton, Sue Proctor, who else? Gail King, not Gail King, my apologies. Her last name is King, but the first name's not coming to me. Joe Dispenza, who else? Candace Pert, Bruce Lipton. I know I'm missing people because there's so many. Oh, Bradley Nelson. There's so many people that are in this world that have been teaching this for decades. And we just haven't really seen it in the mainstream. So I started adding sound and color. I took courses on sound healing, light touch healing. That's when I started moving energy with people. And then I started incorporating essential oils and tuning forks and crystals and word healing, Psych-K, subconscious reprogramming. The list goes on and on and on. Out of that, and out of the lessons and what spirit taught me when I was doing client work, came woven light healing. And it's the idea that we're taking this tapestry of your energy field in your physical body and your ancestry and your concurrent lifetimes, or no, past lifetimes, by the way, your concurrent lifetimes. And we're pulling all of the junk and the goo out of all of those. We're clearing that through different methodologies. And then we're infusing in positive, beneficial, best and highest kinds of energetics. And really what my job is to read what the energetic signature is and then hold space for the frequency of what needs to be done. So whether this is extraction, removal, erasure, dissolving, whatever it is, hold space for that, and then hold space for the energy to come through from the universe for what is for your best and highest good. I've always been inclined to teach people this. So I've always taught people the nature of it as we go through session. And over time, many of my clients step out on their own. So they go on the path that feels right for them. They feel drawn to. And so Woven Light Healing rolls into energetic life design. All of that brought through my life experience and the experience of the people that I'm blessed to work with. So fast forward to today, I feel good. I feel good almost every day. I still have occasional days. The full moon really challenges me. So I haven't quite figured out my full energetic balance with the full moon, but we're getting there. But that's true for everybody. We all have cycles and seasons. I'm learning to flow with those cycles and seasons. I am inspired to do some bigger things. So those are getting ready to get kicked off. And we're just on this amazing journey. Out of that came stress rescue. That is calming the nervous system. I mentioned that I was super stressed and stuck in these patterns of going and people pleasing and sacrificing myself. And then secondarily, Woven Light Healing, which is this extraction and cleansing of the field, and then moving into energetic life design. They often flow together, but most people start with stress rescue. Today, I live a life that I love. I have amazing experiences, incredible relationships, and I'm very in tuned and aligned with what's right for me. I am fortunate that when I get the blessing of working with someone, I can read their energy field, translate it to them, and translate that into action for their best and highest good. It's a lot of fun. I love to teach workshops and retreats are coming. Women Heal Women is going to be one of the first retreats we do, and this is going to be pure magic. Because I now believe in magic. I was raised by two wonderful people who are very intellectual and not spiritual at all. And now I'm this very spiritual, energetically aligned person who's harnessing the magic that is all around for health and healing. I haven't told that to too many people, so this is a bit more of a public declaration that I'm very woo and very intellectual and very analytical and very magical. And so are you. So I wanted to share this story with you. Hopefully it inspires you. It shows you what is possible. Now it took me a while to get there, but it doesn't have to take that long. That's the beauty of the programs that I've been channeled and driven to develop because they help you go through that process much faster. So I would love to hear your comments and your feedback. Share your story with me. I would love to hear your story. And yeah, what's your next step? Where are you going? I'm about to launch my dream. Big dream. It's to help everybody. This isn't just for me. This isn't for me, really. It's for everyone. It's called Tarotwind. You should keep an eye out for it. So what's your dream? What is it that's drawing at you that you haven't quite figured out yet? And how may I help you get there? Have a great day.